Special events. They are wonderful and horrible all in the same sentence, I think.
Very often, because events are such a public occasion, everybody sees the event that a big organization might do and has done for years, and they say, wow, you know, the Red Cross raised $250,000 at that breakfast. Let's have a breakfast. Well, there's a reason that the Red Cross raised $250,000 for the breakfast, and it's not just because they, did a breakfast. It's because they had probably spent a lot of time, a lot of years cultivating the people who were going to come to that breakfast, so that when they came to that breakfast, they already cared about the services that I'm just using the Red Cross as an example, but they already cared about the services that Red Cross provided. So a lot of work preceded that event, and I'm not talking just about event planning, I'm talking about the whole, cultivation process. And so doing an event it is tempting because it's very, it's very obvious, and you think, well, we're going to draw a lot of people and that sort of thing. But I would caution smaller nonprofits in particular, well, any, truthfully, because it's a fact, that you can invest so much time and money. You can really invest, if you calculate all your true costs, if you calculate all of your staff hours that go into writing invitations, sending invitations, planning menus with caterers, which a lot of times when we're working on budgets, we think of the costs that we're going to incur that day. How much does a plate of food cost? How much is the wait staff cost? But prior to that event, there's been a lot of times hundreds of hours spent. And so if all those costs were calculated, and then you had your breakfast, and then you collected your money, and then you subtracted all your real overhead, you might be surprised how little you'd make. And yet, there is a role for events to play. But I think that the role for special events, my recommendation would be one of two things. One is that you use it as a friend raiser. So you don't really count on it as a big fundraiser, but you think it's important to get a lot of people together, remind them who you are, remind them of what you do, make your case again in a really compelling way. Or you use it as the culmination of your cultivation process, that you've done all the work ahead of time. You've identified who might be interested in your cause, you've talked to them, you've given them basic information, you've told them you're going to invite them to something purely to raise funds, and then you bring them together and you raise funds that way, but it's at the end of a long cultivation process. So to me, those are the only two legitimate reasons to do a special event, because otherwise they can just be frustrating and eat up a ton of time and really cost you a lot of money.
I think there's a whole subset of special events that aren't black tie events, that are not done in a hotel ballroom, that are small, intimate opportunities to sit down with your donors one-on-one and get to know them in a way that they get to feel like they own your organization a little bit more than what they maybe did at a big event. The face time is far more important, and you can do a small dinner or something like that, which we just did one of those, and it worked very, very well for one of my donors who has always been a part of the organization, has always been very supportive with her own money and time, but now is actually going out and asking other people to do the exact same thing, which is really quite wonderful. And it's all because of this little dinner that we had her host at her house.
When we're looking at doing small house parties or looking at more intimate events for our organization to deepen our relationship with individuals, it's kind of funny that in our nation, wealth is a very interesting concept, and it's kind of voyeuristic in many ways, because people are consider themselves either wealthy or not wealthy, and there's a particular interest in individuals wanting to visit wealthy people's homes. And so there's a lot of opportunities for us in this way to actually build relationships with some of our existing donors, and a lot of them really want to welcome and invite people into their homes, and as a way to leverage their resources. And so we get to host a lot of our events at private homes. And the types of people that we actually invite to these events are those individuals that demonstrate some propensity to giving to Neighborhood House, whether they have a history of giving in general in the community, whether they have a depth of their own personal wealth as well. And we do personal invitations for those. We send them an official invitation to come join us at so-and-so's home, for an opportunity to learn more about our organization. And it's usually combined with some sort of guest chef, or a special wine or chocolate event or whatever it might be. And there's a particular interest in people coming to that. And we follow up with a very personable phone calls to make sure that people understand this is a very special event. When we actually get to the event, it's always a fun gathering. It's very social. People have an opportunity to learn about what we do. We usually have our board president there and board members. We have our executive director. I am always there as a development director to make sure that the right people are meeting the right other people and making those connections happen. A lot of times what we're doing at this event is actually doing a small presentation, whether the presentation is about the organization and where we're going, or if it's about a special initiative that we're wanting to promote and actually seek resources to support. What that does is it creates in individuals' minds kind of a confidence about the organization. It's going strong, and there's a reason for them to be engaged, and there's a reason for them to be there. And if the invitation was billed as a donor event where this is really about soliciting a gift, then at the time what we'll do is we'll solicit a gift from those individuals at the event. And if there's some sort of challenge that's incorporated with that, they can understand what that challenge looks like and why are they being asked to step up to the plate. There's also an opportunity just to have an event where people just get to know you as an organization because they've had no other contact with you. And this might just be a soft ask event, and that's just more about introducing them to your organization with the concept that we'll be following up with them in the future and asking for their personal support down the road.